Welcome in, Chris. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. That was weird. I was like, do you know what made that weirder? Because you didn't move. Like now, you were sitting really still, and I was like, has he frozen as well? And then you moved, and I was like, it's alive, it's alive. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was a bizarre moment, but there you go.
Well, let's take this opportunity before we start to wish you, on behalf of all the Talking Town family, congratulations, because you have a new addition in the whole household. Tell us more.
I do, yeah. Little brunt, odd and wingy. No, I haven't called her that. Callia Mia Hall, yeah. They're born 21st of June, so yeah, we're absolutely delighted. If you're seeing the bags under my eyes a little bit more, that's why. But yeah, she's absolutely magnificent, and
Brilliant.
I'm absolutely knackered. But other than that, we're all good.
Have you been down to the Hawthorns yet for baby grows and all the baby paraphernalia that comes with the club shop?
Do you know what? Like, and I'm sure the town and everybody else is the same on that. It's just so ludicrously expensive. It's like it. Geez, that didn't take long, did it? Like. Sorry.
Norman's asked you a question here, hasn't he? Norman's asked you a question. Would you concede McKenna is a better manager than Mason? Well, not much to go on, really, is there?
First of all, Ryan Mason hasn't got a relegation on his CV. Is all I'd say. But no. In answer to your question, Matt, like, it's ludicrously expensive for how quickly they're going to grow out of it. You know what I mean? It's I think it's you get the shorts and the socks and all that, but it's 45 quid for the baby kit, and I'm like, she's going to max. That's probably going to fit her for 6 months. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm being tight, but I just can't bring myself to pay that. And I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people. You know, I'd much rather get one of the sort of, like, somebody's bought me a sort of printed baggies thing that they've obviously, you know, that's might not be club official, but it does the job, and frankly, it's a vanity project for myself anyway, because she has absolutely no idea how garbage Albion are and how bad a life is in store for her in terms of her football team at this point. She's got all that to come.
Exactly. Well, we'll save that for our season preview show once we get into August. And now Ipswich, Chris, are continuing the West Bromwich Albion link with Big CÉDRIC KIPRÉ coming into Portman Road,
and David Button. Where was I on that? Where was I on that pod? You know,
you called me to say how terrible he'd been as your goalkeeper.
So the single worst goalkeeper I have ever seen at West Bromwich Albion. This is a guy who conceded over 50% of the shots on target. So statistically, a team only needs to get 2 shots on target per game to score a goal. And I sent you the video of the free kick against Birmingham, where he was in a different postcode to his near post.
He was. Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's coming in as sort of like
fella, this. Yeah, I hear he's a nice fella, but if you could play him against us, that'd be fabulous.
I know you wanted that. You was hopeful that might happen, weren't you?
Yeah.
Well, it's quite interesting, actually, because as we say, actually KIPRÉ has got a big family tree with current town players. So with West Bromwich Albion, Dara O'Shea, David Button, Connor Townsend, Alex Palmer. Then at Cardiff, he was with Philogene, and our set piece coach, Mark Hudson. It's a really good job Govers drops off this call. You mentioned Mark Hudson, he starts losing it. And then at Wigan, he was with Sam Moolsey and Christian Watkins. He's actually going into a squad of players that he knows pretty well. But so let's wind it back. So I mean, 23-24, he was actually your player of the year at the Hawthorns, Big CÉDRIC.
I think he was both. I think he won both. I think he won players and fans. In fact, I'm more sure he won fans than players, if I'm honest with you. Okay. Big Ced is a weird one in terms of his Albion career. So he was signed by us in when did we sign him?
2020, I think.
2020, 2021. Yeah. We signed him for £1 million when we went up to the Premier League. Never played him, and immediately and once January rolled around, we farmed him out to Charleroi on loan.
Oh right.
He never got a sniff. I think 3 games, and I think they were all in the cup. I think I'm right in saying. And then he came back from his loan, and we'd obviously gone down, and he got a bit of football under Valérien Ismaël, and he was just a liability quite a lot of the time. He had this mad moment away at Derby where the ball was played over the top. Val liked his goalkeeper to be a sweeper keeper, so Sam Johnston came chasing out of his goal. And normally, what happens in that situation? And I've had people argue with me that this is not KIPRÉ's fault, but honest to God,
this is not previously.
Watch the goal, and make your own mind up. What happens is the ball gets played over the top. Johnston, as per his instructions, runs out of his goal to deal with the situation, but KIPRÉ is running towards the ball, and there's this moment where they both stop, because if one of them doesn't stop, they're just going to run into each other. And they stop for like a millisecond or whatever. And then there's this horrible moment of tension. It was right in front of me where you think someone's got to do something. So KIPRÉ just heads it into Sam Johnston, who the ball then springs loose to Colin Kazim-Richards, who cannot be happier with the open goal that's in front of him, and he rolls it in, and we lose the bloody game 1-0. And I mean, another one with KIPRÉ that season was we played. It was Brighton in an FA Cup third round replay at the Hawthorns, and we were doing quite well actually, and then KIPRÉ picks the ball up on the edge of his own penalty area and suddenly goes on this slaloming run, like all the way down the pitch, and gets into the left wing position, like just on the edge of their penalty area.
Yeah,
gets tackled, and they play the ball upfield, and suddenly we've got no centre half. So they score from that, and then later in that game he gets himself sent off. The guy was balmy, and I didn't know.
These are your first impressions. These are your first impressions.
This was my and then we shipped him out on loan to Cardiff, and frankly, I was like, absolute good riddance. And all you got from Cardiff fans was, this guy's brilliant. Like, why didn't you like him? All this sort of thing. He wins their Player of the Year. And he comes back to us, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's just sorted himself out at Cardiff. And we go into pre-season, and we played Burton Albion away. And it was one of the most disgracefully bad performances I've ever seen from an Albion player, even in pre-season. He was shocking. And I thought, okay, it's just pre-season. We start the season. We go away to Blackburn. He lets the player go for the first goal. And it's appalling defending. And then straight from the kickoff, we lay the ball back to him. And he tries this through ball and gives the ball straight to them. And they score from kickoff for the second goal. And I'm thinking, this lad can't go on to wear an Albion shirt ever again. He's embarrassing. And he had a couple of other moments where he nearly gave a penalty away in the next game. And on our pod, we were calling it, he has a KIPRÉ moment. Like, he got to a point where he was playing well for sort of 89 minutes, but just having this one crazy moment per game. And
like Titus Bramble. We've been there before with Titus. He used to be like that.
But then, out of nowhere, we lost to Warnock's Huddersfield. We had this mad game where we went for the winner, and they did us on the break, and they beat us, and Corberan was fuming after it, absolutely fuming. Like, I think we'd conceded at least two goals in every single one of our opening four games, and Corberan just came out after the game and went, "We are not going to win anything if we concede 2 goals a game. Simple as that." And I thought, this means he's going to drop Big Ced, because he was a big part of the problem at that point. I don't know what he did with CÉDRIC in that week of training, but from that point on, KIPRÉ never looked back, and he was unreal. The guy was a beast. He barely put a foot wrong for the rest of the season. He wins everything in the air. He's an absolute tank. He thumps into challenges. He steps out from the back. He plays I mean, the pass for our goal at Leicester when we lost 2-1 that he plays through for Jed Wallace to make it 2-1 is, if it was in the Premier League, you'd never hear the end of it. I mean, if a Premier League defender, it was
we went up. Yeah.
Yeah. It was an unbelievable pass. And he could just do things like that. He was stepping out at the right time. He was playing his passes at the right time. His recoveries, he looked unbeatable. And this all coming from being, frankly, embarrassing for sort of 3-4 games at the start of the season, and not much better in his spell in the side under Val. It was just bizarre. But as I say, one of the biggest turnarounds in an Albion player that I can remember from, as I say, that season under Val, which ended up with him getting shipped out on loan to Cardiff because we didn't want to touch him, to coming back, being shocking for 3-4 games, and then for the next sort of 30-odd, being absolutely phenomenal. And he even signed off, even after we got absolutely done in the playoff final, he still signed off with an injury time thumping header at Southampton just to get us on the board. I mean, we were 3-0 down. We were
remember
out,
that. Yeah, I remember that.
But it was still the last kick, last head of the game, and he thumped in a goal, and off he went to France. Tra.
Neil Fay says, so we've signed the defender version of Muric. You've been hearing me moaning about Muric all year, haven't you?
Look, genuinely, I don't know what you're getting, because we've seen this a little bit.
You've seen highs and lows here from Big Cedric.
We've seen regression from some of our players since Corberan left, and it's a bit of a question mark over whether are they good players, or was just Corberan incredibly disciplined with them. And I can't say I've watched anything of Cédric in France. I don't know how he's performed there. If you get the Cédric KIPRÉ that we had under Carlos Corberan, you've got one of the best defenders in the league. He's got everything. He has got everything. He's tall, he's strong, he's quick, he's got a range of passing, he's unbelievable in the air. It's just decision making. It was just decision making with him, and just rash, crazy moments. But Corberan ironed all those out. Probably made it very clear to him if he kept doing that, he wasn't going to play. But I don't know whether, as some of our players have, he regresses under a less disciplined manager. And I don't know enough about McKenna's personality to know how disciplined he is with his players. Maybe Cédric's just learnt from what Corberan taught him and has become now a more disciplined defender. Or maybe as soon as the shackles were off, he went back to his old ways. I don't know.
Yeah, he's such a regimental manager, isn't he, Corberan? I mean, obviously, when he left, he goes to relegation threatened Valencia and gets some finishing in the mid-table in the end. I mean, we saw it, didn't we, when we went to the Hawthorns, and we've been scoring goals for fun. We rock up against you, but barely crossed the halfway line, I seem to recall. I mean, that shows you sort of how defensively sound Corberan was. It was a bit different at Pullman Road, wasn't it? It was a bit more open, that 2-2 game. But maybe he just...
But even that, I thought, up until the point where Bartley had to go off at half-time, I thought we had you.
Yeah, you were leading 2-1 into injury time, weren't you? When
well, no, it was the first seconds of the second half.
That's right.
It was the first seconds of the second half, and that goal doesn't happen if your Koslu isn't at centre back. It was only Bartley going off that turned that game. I thought. Yeah. I thought it was going to be another Corberan masterclass, to be honest, until Bartley went off, and then obviously look, you put a centre mid at centre half, and it's a different game, isn't it?
It was different, but Cédric played in both those, didn't he?
Pretty sure he did. Yeah, he would have done.
But I just think that game of the Hawthorns just showed you how defensively sound West Brom were under him, under Carlos. Yeah. And obviously Cédric, after he'd ironed out a few of his issues, obviously fitted in quite seamlessly there. Would he play? See, he's right-footed, isn't he? But did he play on the left-hand side for you?
Yeah. And he, to be honest, made it look seamless. He didn't. It wasn't an issue for him. He is a very, very, very talented footballer. It's just, as I say, it was like watching an over enthusiastic puppy trying to play centre half for maybe a year and a bit.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he grew up and started being a big dog, we just sat back and marveled at how good he was. But as I say, I just don't know whether he's reverted in any way, shape, or form, or whether, like I say, that the lessons that he was taught by Corberán have stuck. But it wasn't the setup that necessarily protected KIPRÉ. He still had to do a lot in that season. He was making all the right calls. Like, his football intelligence for the rest of that season was so good. It's just, as I say, I've seen it with my own club that as soon as the headmaster walks out, and unfortunately Mowbray coming in was a bit like having a substitute teacher, you see a lot of the players who'd been very, very good for 2 years under Corberán reverting and going to, getting into bad old habits.
He's more open game, Morgan, doesn't he, historically, than what Corberán did? I mean, he was a proper shut-up shop merchant, wasn't he, Carlos?
I think that's a bit unfair. I think we were more than that under Carlos. I think, look, we were, because a shut up shop merchant is Pulis. Somebody who somebody who tells his fullbacks not to get over the halfway line. Someone who bypasses his central midfielders because they're just there to win the ball back. That's not what Corberán was.
He'd have been good in Pulis' Stoke team then, KIPRÉ.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because I don't know whether Pulis could have taught him to defend the way Carlos did. I don't know. I never saw Tony Pulis give players an awful lot of time if they weren't quite his cup of tea. I think he'd have just given up on CÉDRIC KIPRÉ, to be honest with you, very quickly.
Maybe.
But
no, potential.
Yeah, I think we were more than that under Corberán. I think everybody knew their role. I think we were disciplined, but I don't think we were overly negative. We still played with players like Dean Garner, Swift, Tom Fellows, Mikey Johnston, Alex Mower in midfield, people like that. Josh Masher, Carlin Grant. We played with quite a lot of attacking players. Jed Wallace as well. I don't think you have those players in your team if you're a defense first sort of an outfit.
Okay, it's going to be interesting to see where CÉDRIC plays. I mean, I'm just looking at his stats of Reims last season. This is very confusing for us because we're signing a midfielder also from Stade Rennes. So we've got KIPRÉ coming in from Reims, Stade Rennes. Then you start getting confused, don't you? Rennies, the two Ronnies. It's all very confusing. But I actually thought he was going to be coming in, sort of playing on that kind of filling the void that Axel Twanzebe has left. I think he's filling that squad place, but I think maybe he's going to give us a little bit more flexibility than what Axel did, and certainly some of his attributes are as good, if not better, than what Axel had. I think what he'll give Ipswich is maybe a flexibility to play those three centre backs. So we might have Greaves on the left. You could put KIPRÉ in the middle and Dar O'Shea to his right. Maybe Ben Johnson as the right wing back and Leif Davis on the left hand side. What else is going to help him, of course, is, like I say, O'Shea on one side and behind him Alex Palmer. I mean, that's going to be brilliant for him to come into a squad, and even if he's a little bit nervous or whatever, and as some of those issues you were alluding to earlier, you'll have lads with him that he knows pretty well.
Yeah, and look, Alex Palmer's an outstanding goalkeeper, and he's always going to help. I mean, I was just looking at his numbers from last season and just seeing what I could potentially deduce from that. I mean, looking at this, it looks like his passing is still unbelievable, and I think that especially in a McKenna team, I think that will really help you because he's a really good way of getting up the field, and look, his successful dribble numbers are really, really good as well for a centre half, and it looks like that hasn't been in any way quashed at Reims or however you say it. I think what's interesting though, looking at this, is that his fouls committed numbers are quite high. And I think that I think maybe he's got back to sort of mistiming the odd tackle. So I think he's going to give you a couple of heart in mouth moments. Interesting. It seems like he only gave away one penalty last season, which has got to be a positive because, frankly, he looked like for a period of time he looked at Albion like he could give away a penalty a week. But I think. Look, I think you are definitely getting a very good player. I just think that he will need to be managed a little bit, and I think you need to be strict on CÉDRIC because he will think that if the shackles are off him, that he can just take the ball and go and be Franz bloody Beckenbauer and go waltzing up the field, or he will try. And he will try those Hollywood passes, which when they come off are unbelievable. And like I say, that ball for Wallace was great, but unfortunately he tried it in the wrong moment against Blackburn and passed the ball straight to their midfielder who'd anticipated the pass, gone to basically close the passing lane, picked it off, and I can't remember. It was the young forward was already on his bike and he played him in, and bish bash bosh, we were 2-0 down.
Yeah.
So it's moments for CÉDRIC, and but he picked his moments perfectly for the rest of the season. So I kind of, part of me kind of hopes you're getting that player, but part of me hopes his best days were at Albion, and because there was a few whispers about us trying to sign him back earlier in the summer, and I think a few Albion fans are hurting a little bit that we didn't get there, but I do think we've got a slightly better player in Torbjorn Hegem anyway. So just purely because he's more reliable. I don't think he's not got KIPRÉ's aggression, which and some of the time just watching CÉDRIC absolutely slap into a challenge was probably one of the most satisfying things that you can see on a football pitch. But and Hegem hasn't got that. But it's like you never worry about Hegem having an absolute head loss moment, and it was always in the back of your mind with CÉDRIC. You'd see him sort of like you'd see a wide man just going past him, and you just think, please don't swing your leg at him because this is a penalty all day long. You know what I mean? Yeah,
he did in the interview he did with the club, Andy Warren from the club. When Andy asked him what his strengths were, he said, "I'm strong. I'm aggressive," and he kind of chuckled sadistically, which sort of suggests a bit of a unit, right?
Oh yeah, I mean there will be a time next season when he just absolutely puts the fear of God into a centre forward and probably puts him completely off his game, because one of those centre halves who comes out, gets the ball and takes everything else with it, and the fans all get up on their feet. That's CÉDRIC. He'll give you those moments and you'll love him for it. You really will.
Town fans thinking about 20 years or so will be maybe thinking he's a bit like George Santos.
Don't talk to me about George Santos. the Battle of Bramall Lane.
The Battle of Bramall Lane. Yeah, exactly. That's what made me think of it. As much as we liked kind of Axel Tuanzebe, obviously he's gone off to Burnley, still staying in the Premier League. What we liked about Axel was that kind of, he'd come through at Man United, captain Man United on occasions. Real good quality. He didn't really give us that goal threat, Chris. When you said earlier, like in that Southampton game, pops up with a header. I mean, if we can get our set pieces into some kind of fashion this season, that should be a bit more of a threat. Do you feel like CÉDRIC could play a part from free kicks, corners, and stuff?
Oh, definitely. He was, he was a big threat for us that season. Look, he only got 2 goals, but he was a threat. He won. He won quite a few headers during the course of that season. And to be honest, he was good at bits and bobs as well in the penalty area. Like balls dropping. I remember one of the goals was just was a swiveling sort of half volley, and he was alive to those sorts of things, and I like that about him. It wasn't like, if I don't win the first ball, that's almost my job done, and that is the case with some centre backs when they go up for a set piece. That if they don't win that first header, that's kind of it for them. Cédric's not like that. He puts his body about. He throws himself about. I think there was one of his goals. I think it was against Middlesbrough. I'm pretty sure it was against Middlesbrough, where they moaned like heck afterwards because I think he threw his backside into the bloke and flattened him and then smashed it home. But as he said himself in the interview, he's an aggressive player. I mean, look, as well, you will get an incident probably at least once a game where you get a set piece and the referee blows up almost as soon as the ball's in the air because Cédric's flattened someone in the penalty area, and I'm sure that'll be frustrating, but you've just got to live with that because that's him, and if you take that away from him, you just haven't got the same player because his aggression is what makes him a good player. But it's also one of the frustrations, as I say, because sometimes he will go for a challenge that he shouldn't go for, and a clever player might roll him or something like that, or he'll give away a free kick from a set piece which was in a promising position or something like that. But no, I always looked at Cédric and I thought, I back you. I back you when the ball's coming in the box. I liked him as a threat.
Okay. Well, we're going to finish off now, Chris. You're giving us half an hour. Probably got to get back to nappy changing duties, so I don't want to delay that. Norman's finishing off here with Matt. Can you ask what KIPRÉ's like playing on the left side of the defence? So we know he's right-footed, Chris, but does play on the left. And you think that's where McKenna would play him as the premium option?
I don't know. I don't know the sort of makeup of your centre halves that clinically to know which one of them he would sort of replace.
We've obviously had Greaves on the left. We've obviously had Greaves on the left-hand side majority, interchanging with Cameron Burgess, who's now gone to Swansea.
Yeah.
And obviously Dara on the right-hand side. And Axel Twanzebe used to play that kind of right back-ish role, really. Rarely would you see him as a centre half. But we do know that KIPRÉ can play right back as well, which is why I'm thinking, mate, he is the Axel replacement, so it can be interesting. But it seems to me the majority of his career has been that left-sided centre back.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I would say, I mean, yeah, he I think he did play. I think he has played right back for Wigan. I don't think we ever saw him at right back.
No.
I mean, look, he played left side for us a little bit out of necessity, really, because Bartley was primarily his centre back partner for quite a bit of that season. He started 31 games and he just can't play the wrong side. Bartley's not that good on the ball when he's on his strong foot. You certainly didn't want him on his weaker one. But at the same time, Eric Peters played a decent chunk of that season as well, and it wasn't a problem to shift KIPRÉ across to the right hand side. KIPRÉ is just very, very comfortable on the ball. He sorts his feet out really, really well, and I think when you talk people, I think people get very, especially nowadays, get really carried away with left-sided centre halves. We need a left footer on the left hand side of the back four. If your centre half is good enough with the ball at his feet, it's not going to make that much difference, because if he can sort his feet out and he is relatively comfortable with both feet, and which, to be honest, most decent footballers should be, then he can play either side. He is right-footed, but he doesn't shy away from using his left. It never really created him a problem. There was never a moment where I looked at KIPRÉ and I thought, "Oh God, you're desperately just trying to get this onto your right foot" or something like that. It's not really. He's not that kind of player. He's more likely to try the Hollywood ball with his left, to be honest with you.
Got quite good long ball stats, isn't he? Long ball passes stats, pretty good.
I think, look, as I say, he's a progressive passer, and he will try those. He will try those Hollywood balls. If you've got players that will run in behind, then, and I mean, you have at the moment. I don't know how many of them you're going to be able to keep, but because I've seen links around people like Amari Hutchinson and people like that. But
don't depress everyone, Chris. As we're finishing,
I think depress you with your squad. Come on, like come and live a day with the rest of us, eh? But no, if you've got players who will gamble off the shoulder of defenders, KIPRÉ is capable of playing that ridiculous ball that just completely dissects two banks of four and just goes through everyone. If the run's clever enough. And I've seen him play that ball when the run hasn't been clever enough. And the frustration then is at the person not making the run, because KIPRÉ's seen where the pass should go. And I think with the intelligence of some of the attackers you've got, I think he will be able to find
someone. Smodic's running in behind and that kind of thing.
But again, it's a trade-off. You've got to accept that there will be those moments when he tries that and their centre mid reads it, and suddenly you find yourself, because players have anticipated the ball going forward, completely outnumbered coming the other way. And you just got to accept that's what you've bought. You know, you've bought a player who will try the Hollywood pass from time to time. When it comes off, you'll score one of the goals of the season, because it'll be your centre half taking their entire team out with one ball. But when it doesn't come off, there's a fairly good chance you'll end up with a shot on your goal.
Well, he's coming on loan, so paying a loan fee. So he's coming for the season with an option to buy, presumably, if we go back up into the Premier League. We're going to lose him over the Christmas period, Chris, because we've got African Cup of Nations and he plays for Ivory Coast. So he's going to be gone from about December 20 through to mid-January, I would have thought. So that'd be a void to fill.
Does he always get in the squad? Because he did. No, I'm just looking now, mate. He's only got one cap.
Oh, okay. Was that pretty recent that he played?
I don't know, but because the reason I asked the question initially was because he never got called up when he was our player, I don't think.
Okay.
So
well, he's at a big club now, isn't he? He's Banter. Bound to get a nod now. He's out of town.
Yeah, oh, you reckon, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks, Chris, for all your time. We appreciate it. There's the first look on KIPRÉ, everybody. It sounds like it might be a bit of a roller coaster ride, but hopefully the good will outweigh the bad. But we'll see soon.
He won't be boring. He won't.
No,
exactly. I will make you one definitive promise. He won't be dull.
There we go. Well, that's good. That's what we want at Pullman Road. The squad leave tomorrow, Chris, to go to Austria for their kind of pre-season camp. Then there's a game on Town TV. Oh, have you? Probably. I hope you left the hotel nice for them, for the lads. Yeah, so that's going to be our training. I think Ipswich got a game next Saturday. It's going to be on Town TV. I think you can pick that up for a £5 on the stream Saturday evening. I think that might be. So yeah, what's West Brom's schedule looking like? Now you've come back from there. What's your pre-season looking like?
Yeah, I was going to say we drew 1-1 with the Dynamo Kiev, and then I mean played them in Austria for fairly obvious reasons. And then we've got Blackpool. Mighty Steve Bruce's Blackpool, Lincoln, which is a very convenient one for me given that my in-laws live that way on, and Rayo Vallecano at home.
Oh yeah, you told me about that one. Yeah, because I was moaning that we've got Charlton, a team we play in October. So at Colchester United, we've got that game as well. But...
I'm always staggered by championship teams who play. Anyone who plays a team in their own division in pre-season, I just I find unless you're part of one of these irritating pre-season tour competition things where you get a load of money from Malaysia or somewhere like that, then fair enough, I get it, because you're just getting a load of wedge for it. But yeah, when you're choosing to play a home friendly against the team you're going to play twice in the season anyway, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't. And we've got Aberdeen at Pataudry, and then we go to Auxerre. Both two teams I like to have seen us play at home, but there we go. All right, mate. Take it easy. Great to see you again. Love to the family and love to all the Talking Town family. We hope you enjoyed the show. Chris will be back on with us very soon as we count down to the new season. So I'll go and check on the Gov, Chris, and see how his internet is. All the best, everybody. We'll see you soon.
And all the best for the season, except for in those two games.
Of course.